The purpose of our interview is that it's a series of interviews that we would like to launch now, and it's like, how to say that, you know, recipes, you see, recipes for success, right? And obviously, when I think of success, Michele is the first one who comes to my mind, and because his success was exceptional. So Michele passed an AD10 exam. In the same time, he passed an AD12 exam, which is jamais vu in the history of the European institutions. And so I would say that for that reason, I would really like to start with him, because it's exceptional success. And I suppose that behind that, there is an exceptional preparation.
So yes, of course, the efforts put in the preparation are the foundation of what will come after. So it's clear that, as you mentioned the word recipe, if you want to have a perfect dish, then you have to have all the ingredients and cook them the right way and assemble the right way. I would say that it's quite a good metaphor for preparing for this kind of competitions. You not only need to identify exactly the areas where you have to prepare yourself, but you also have to make sure that you have the right mix of professional, personal, and coaching support that helps you overcoming even those limits that you cannot see at a certain moment. So the point is, we are all convinced that what we're doing is almost perfect, because we just can look at what we have ahead of us and what we can see. But the truth is that there are a number of challenges that we don't even identify, so we cannot prepare. Hence, the support and the accompanying work of a professional coach, I would say it's indispensable. That's the word that comes to my mind, for a simple reason. Our own limits determine how far we can go. If we are able to push forward those limits, thanks to someone who tells us, look, this is where you stop, this is where you can go still, well, that makes all the difference.
And what comes to my mind is, you know, that I suppose every one of us went to a gym and hired a personal trainer in order, and he will say the same thing, continue, push harder, you can do more than that, right? Even though we are about to die in that effort, and the coach, the trainer said, no, you could continue, right? So it's the same situation.
Yeah, but I also think that a professional external look to the person, it's also crucial to dispel some auto-generated myths. Sometimes
or limitations.
Or limitation, yes. We are putting limits to ourselves based on our personal experience, professional experience, and these limits, even if they're just in our heads, they become real. They then move into reality, and sometimes can hamper the professional development. Having someone who can see that there's a block here and there, certainly that helps a lot.
Absolutely. So, you know, here there are so many, how to say, points to be developed in the personal development. That is amazing, right? What you just said is that once you have a belief, which is the belief about yourself, right? Then you make it happen in the reality. So that is the purpose, to know, or say, to have somebody who doesn't have that belief, and therefore will push you further, because does not have that frame in which you framed yourself probably for years, not decades, right? But I would like to go, Michele, let's say, because it's a recipe, let's go step by step. So where do you start when you do a preparation? I suppose an application form, right?
Of course, that you have to identify, first of all, and that's already very important. You have to identify clearly your path, your professional path. So also at this stage, there is a work to be done. You have an application form, you then start looking at it, and you carefully have to read it word by word, and you have to let the text, the document, drive you through the preparation, not the other way around. So you have to have that as your guiding star, what is in there, and then you take it from there in order to determine what you need to do, the kind of preparation that is needed, but also the kind of personal and professional developments that would help you getting as close as possible to be successful for that specific post.
Absolutely, that is. So there is a thinking before, like, do I want to go that direction? If yes, then what am I supposed to do? Which kind of America? What comes to my mind is the plan de bataille. Huh?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly it. There are plenty of opportunities in a professional life. One of the difficulties is not much to go for the objective once it's set, but it's to set the right objective. And that's also something where, again, we can be our best friends. Sometimes we are our best enemies. You know what they say, beware of what you wish, because it could become true. Sometimes defining the objective and setting the path is crucial, because if you get that wrong, then paradoxically, if you are successful on the wrong path, you become even more unsuccessful. Probably is not crystal clear, but I hope that I'm making myself a bit better understood.
Absolutely, I think that we got it right. Is that if you're successful on the wrong objective, then it's better not to be successful.
Absolutely, that's like it's like the marathon man who was faster than any other one, and
on the wrong
he
track.
went in the wrong path, so he was very fast, and the faster he was, the farther he was from the arrival.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, beautiful image. Exactly that, right? So that's why you prefer to be unsuccessful, because at least you don't advance 42 kilometers on the wrong direction.
And if I may, after, so the day after is much easier. But after some unsuccesses, then looking back at my personal experience, I am very grateful for those unsuccesses, because that's exactly what then drove me in what I consider now to be the right direction. Now, of course, easy to say after. At the moment, I can tell you, I was always very angry. I was very frustrated.
Okay, but still. Right. So what you say is we think about let's say the next steps in the career, then we do the application form because we consider that this is the right path, right? And here, obviously, we work together on the application form. And what I'm saying to my clients is that it's fundamental to have the highest quality possible of documents, right? What is your experience with that?
Well, there is the content and there is the form. In a job application, especially when it comes to the institutional scene, they go together. They become one. Form and content are exactly the same thing. Form is content and content is form. So you have to be perfect in every single element. When I say perfect, it means that you don't just have to be good, or this could be okay. If you talk about the many things that are required, imagine that you have a talent screener that need to be presented for that specific application. Your talent screener cannot be good. Good will never be enough. It has to be perfect, which means that you have to devote time, energy. It's a job in itself, and you have to really polish it. If I can give an image of what you have to do, you know that you can have natural diamonds, so you just carve them out in mines, or you can have nowadays what is called synthetic diamonds. what do? You put together a huge amount of carbonates, which are the basic principle of a diamond. Then you put a huge amount of pressure on these carbonates, and with time, the pressure will reduce the carbonates into the form of a single diamond. That's what you need to do. Not just carve diamonds if you're able, but also use all your strength, your energy in order to get all your experience, all your knowledge, or all that you want to show in those little diamonds. So compress, but at the same time work with a huge amount of energy.
Exactly. So here you are talking about the talent screener, but obviously you are talking about the CV. So
Absolutely.
rewrite the CV, write the application form, which is the motivation that normally every competition or every selection process requires, and then a talent screener if we are talking about, let's say, specialist experts level. And it goes without saying that these three documents have to be coherent, have to say the same story, and therefore whenever somebody will look at you through these documents, you will send the same picture, or you will send the same image.
Absolutely. And to me, there is also one other element which is important there. There's a lot of work that can be done by the person, the candidate itself, or the person itself. It's the amount of work I was describing before, a lot of energy, a lot of patience, a lot of time. At the same time, the product will never be perfect if it is just one person doing it. And if there's not an external screening made by a professional who could easily detect and correct what are mistakes, I will call them the way they are, mistakes that we cannot notice any longer. To our eyes, they're not mistakes, they're not problems in a CV, or we don't even sometimes are able to recognize discrepancies between these documents because they are too close to our eyes. And so you really need an external advice and an external support in order to ensure that these products not only are consistent, but they are flawless.
Very good. So now let's move to the next stage. And the next stage, I don't remember whether did you do a CBT in your selection process?
CBT, no, I didn't.
Computer-based test, which is, let me just mention one aspect. In some competitions, there is computer-based test, which means reasoning, right? Numerical, abstract, and verbal. And here again, obviously, you have to put a lot of energy because they are asking for some levels, some scores. But as I'm saying all the time to my clients, if you can choose, probably as an employer, you will certainly go for the person who has the highest scores. So I would say it's obvious, even though the requirements are only 50% passing mark or something like that, I will always go for 90% if I could manage. So invest a lot of time and energy, and hopefully you have the right method to do it. Because again, talking about the marathon, right, is not the same thing to run the marathon with the sports shoes or with high heels. Right. So what I'm saying to my clients, you know, they arrive to me and they said, I run a lot of marathons. I said, well, I'm afraid that you were on high heels. Now let's put the sports shoes and then probably you will do better.